CEO, founder of GPL Technologies, and I'm here with Nick Allevato, our DevOps engineer, who's been doing a ton of work with AWS. There's some changes with the Deadline render queue management software. So, Nick, thank you. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
And what is I think we'll start first by what excites you right now with what's happening with Deadline and the changes.
Sure. Yeah, well, we've been working with Deadline 10 for many years, and something that customers were always asking for was cloud integration, cloud scaling, cloud burst, all sorts of things with cloud. But Deadline 10 didn't have first-class support for cloud. And what's really exciting is the new AWS Deadline Cloud product is cloud is a first-class citizen. It's treated as the native integration. It's the way the system is built. It's built not only on cloud resources, but allows you to then use the cloud resources to do your renders. And a lot of the setup and architecture that's required to do that is built into the product as opposed to something you had to bolt on. It's been very exciting to work with.
That's amazing. And when you say cloud native, can you dig in for the rest of us who don't understand the difference between a bolt-on versus native?
Sure. Yeah, Deadline 10's integration with AWS was a plugin. And so when you're dealing with a plugin, you have limitations and you have integration points, you have pain points, you have things that don't exactly work um, as they did in a traditional environment. And so having consistency between your on-premise gear and your cloud gear wasn't built into the product or really something that the product could do. Whereas now, um, having a cloud first product and bringing in the technologies that have grown over the last decade with Amazon Web Services and some more providers, we have the ability to spin up instances using built-in AWS autoscaling, for example. And then we have an ability of running the Deadline Cloud worker agents and letting the platform manage all the software dependencies. And so one of the killer features with Deadline Cloud is the service managed fleets, which essentially allows you to do serverless or nodeless renders. You don't have to manage your nodes; they come online automatically, and then the dependencies of your project are automatically loaded in as well. And that includes plugins, main DCC apps, plugins, any scripts or any additional software you need, and then of course your projects themselves. And the platform handles all that for you. It allows you to spin up instances in the cloud or use your on-premise instances in a cohesive way, which is a big step up from what it was before.
Wow, that's amazing. So what you're saying is basically when you hit render, all the different dependencies are automatically uploaded, all the different plugins, necessities to render the shot is all uploaded. It's all licensed. It's licensed per use. That's
Yeah, that's right.
amazing.
They actually, yeah, it does include licensing. So instead of having to purchase licensing for the year and only using it for, some percentage of the year, you actually is a pay-as-you-go licensing model that is billed on your Amazon bill with your compute resources as well. And so you don't have to buy Maya licenses, Maya V-Ray licenses, Arnold licenses. All these licenses are available via a licensing endpoint, as it's called, and that allows you to do cloud burst style licensing right next to your cloud burst compute.
Well, that's amazing. And then is there anything else that's new in helping our clients even more?
One of the things that is new, I think that will help, is the use of what's called OpenJD, and OpenJD is AWS's Amazon's initiative for open job description. And what it is a more platform agnostic, render farm agnostic job description format. And what this allows us to do is have our job parameters, our job commands, our steps, our dependencies for the job, our requirements like plugins and other things to be defined in the job template. And then once it's in the job template, whether you're using AWS Deadline Cloud or you have a built-in roll your own pipeline solution, you can load all that data and then pivot off of it. So for example, say you have a job that requires Maya 2025 plus V-Ray plus a custom plugin. The way you can build it in Deadline Cloud is you can put those specifications in your job template. You submit the job with that job template. And then when the render worker goes to render it can look at those dependencies before runtime execution and load those dependencies from something like Res, which is very popular in the industry, or other ones like Conda. Or if you have a standalone environment, it can at least notify you that those dependencies are required, and if it doesn't detect them, then it could fail the job. And so what's that's doing is taking the traditional operations style plugin and software management and moving it into the job. And what that is doing is taking away work from your operations team because they only have to set up infrastructure for dependency management essentially one time. And then as the farm is exercised and the dependencies are loaded and things are changed, they're just adding packages to the repository and the jobs, and the nodes will dynamically load those at runtime.
Well, that's amazing. So it's getting easier and easier every year.
Yeah,
And now
improving a lot.
there's less work for the operations team to prepare for the massive renders, especially in the final delivery. And once you have it ready to go, you hit render, it automatically spins up all your instances on the cloud, spins up all dependencies, syncs all the data, does the computation, and then produces the final renders for you.
Yeah, it's sort of an extension of the cloud everything as code model. And so instead of having instances that you babysit or static infrastructure that you manage using some other tool, you're managing all your software and your nodes and even your data as well as software, as a piece of data that gets manipulated and used at some later stage in the pipeline. And so the farm becomes another step in your pipeline, and is integrated across the artist space as opposed to into the engineering or the infrastructure space.
Wow, that's amazing. And so just switching gears a little bit, how is budget and pricing managed under the new deadline?
Sure. So that's actually a big gap with Deadline 10 was the inability to see pricing outside of after the fact or what you've used. And even at that point, it was a bit hard to distinguish like per job costs, for example, or per software costs or per department costs. And so the rewrite of Deadline and the reimplementation of Deadline Cloud, they have a built-in cost reporting tool. And this cost reporting tool is everything that every artist imagined it would be. And you can choose and filter based on queue or location or job or software type or licensing. And so you have ways of cross-sectioning your cost and identifying exactly what the job cost on AWS, which includes your compute, includes a amortized bandwidth cost, and it also includes your licensing cost.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Before we wrap up here, to be respectful of people's times, is there anything that you would like to close with or leave people?
Um, one thing that from a development and operations side, that I very much appreciate about Deadline Cloud is that it is rewritten. And at some point in every software's life, there needs to be a rewrite and a change of how the software is written because technologies change. And as much as I love Deadline 10 and grew up with it across its various ownerships and names, um, seeing a cloud first render platform is very encouraging. And once you get over the initial learning curve of the platform, you find that you can actually move a lot more rapidly and do a lot more things with it than maybe initially apparent because it's something completely new. And so it's almost more of a human challenge, getting used to the software and using it than a technical challenge. The tech is actually pretty solid, but the learning curve for the human is where there needs to be a little bit of work.
That's awesome. Well, that sounds like a chapter in the next episode. Thank you, Nick.
Welcome.